Welcome back. Today I'll be reacting to another abaandpreach video, and this one is called They Think Dating Rich Men is Fun.
What's fascinating about this video wasn't even their response. What fascinated me even more than that was their straight face when they said it.
Is there a number that stands out to you as like a decent salary? Like something that you would be like, okay, he needs to make this much money.
If he's not ever making more than, let's say, $100,000, then I would be a little bit worried about our future.
I would say somewhere between.
I think the average salary of a man living in the United States is $55,000 last time I checked. So 54 pretty much. Let's see if this is a mid-career wage. What is a good salary in the USA? In the US, an annual salary between $70,000 and $78,000 before tax is considered to be a good wage in any state. What she's looking for is significantly more than the average man makes.
400K to wherever, like.
Yeah, somewhere around 80 to 100K in your mid-20s.
Which means they have...
Yeah, I don't know if they understand the value of money or how one goes about accumulating $80,000 to $100,000 a year, but to do that in your mid-20s is extremely uncommon. By her own definition, she would be disqualifying most lawyers, doctors who spend their early to mid-20s studying for their degree. And if she's disqualifying lawyers, doctors, engineers, and even accountants, because most accountants who make what she's looking for and more also spend their mid-20s getting their MBA or MS. So what she's looking for is extremely uncommon to begin with. The age range she wants someone to be making that kind of money is even more of a rarity. So I'm not sure what kind of circles she's running in, but these standards just seem super unrealistic.
Around 80 to 100K in your mid-20s.
Which means they have no conception how difficult it is to get to that kind of financial level. No. Even if you look at the numbers, how many people actually make that amount of money? By that, like, ones that said by like 23 or like mid-20s.
23, she said 80 to 100K.
I was like, who?
You're a baby.
What?
You're just getting out of school at 23. At 23, you haven't even finished your master's.
And she said with such a straight face, like what she thought was normal. Then the other girl says 400 to whatever. Like it's normal. That is how disconnected they are. And now at one point they're talking about, so we can live a life of leisure.
Say enough to live a life of leisure in a sense.
Habibti.
I guess my question would be, how much money does she expect to generate in the relationship to sustain that life of leisure, right? Because it takes two to tango, and most people, when they get married, combine incomes so that they can invest and save and build together. So I'm wondering what kind of relationship she's looking for. I think for some people it's okay to be in financially lopsided relationships because there are other ways in which their partners compensate and bring value to the table which is not financial. But for the overwhelming majority of couples, I'd imagine both parties need to bring something to the table, right? What if your man gets sick, or he gets into a terrible accident, or he gets laid off and there's a pause in his stream of income? What do you do? See, I remember having a professor in community college. His girlfriend didn't have a job, so the standard that he set was, we're not getting engaged until you get a good, stable job. Until that happens, I don't want to hear anything about getting engaged. And I thought, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Because God forbid you start a family with someone and you have kids and a crisis unfolds. Your partner needs to be able to pull their weight and manage the situation, right? Most men can't afford the luxury to be the main breadwinners in a relationship. And I think some women who have unrealistically high expectations have trouble understanding that. And it could come from a place of entitlement. It can come from a place of naivety. It could come from a place of watching people stunt on social media too much and thinking people have a greater net worth than they really do. There are many reasons why a woman might give the answers that these women are giving. Now, another thing that I want to make clear is that these videos that abaandpreach posts, although they are entertaining and although they are microcosms of larger societal trends and patterns, they're not always representative of the common woman and what the common woman is looking for. On the other hand, women like this are out there, and unfortunately these are the types of women who develop dating preferences that are unrealistic, and by the time they realize their preferences are unrealistic, they end up in their late 30s living in an apartment with dogs and cats. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having pets or using them as companions, because we also don't want to minimize the loneliness that women face. A lot of people are talking about how men experience loneliness, but women do.
Live a life of leisure, in a sense.
Habibti, if you're making that kind of money, generally you're working overtime, you're not taking holidays off, you're working all the time. Because to get that kind of money, I think people have this idea of making lots of money and think it's just incredible flexibility. I can travel when I want, I can go where I want, I can spend the money however I want. That's not what it is.
You got the money, you just don't have the time.
Go ahead.
You just don't have the time.
You don't have the time.
Like you got superstars, they're making a lot of money and stuff like that. You think they always have the time to go out? Like someone like, for example, Kevin Hart, that has kids, a wife, side chicks.
Well, I don't know. Kevin Hart is a bad example because he gets paid to go on vacations and travel around the world giving tours and comedy shows. So although he is working a lot of the time, he's still living life. He's still having fun and doing things that a lot of normal people who work a 9-to-5 plus overtime don't have the chance to do. You think of a police officer or a teacher or a plumber or an electrician, a consultant, someone who works two jobs, one as a housekeeper and the other as a caterer or receptionist. These are the people that I'm more concerned with because they are representative of the general population. And unfortunately, these are the people who end up working themselves to death and getting paid very little to do it in some cases.
Someone like Kevin Hart to have wife,
girlfriends,
wife, kids, and does 4 movies a year. 4 movies a year. Manages a company. Think he can just take off with his boo and his kids for 3 months
and then
living lavish.
Motherfucker gets divorced because why? Because the wife says he don't spend enough time with me. It's like,
yo, it's
there's numbers out there, right, about how the fact that like vast majority of the highest earners in the world, all right, I'm talking about people who make like 7 figures, 8 figures, or like vast majority of them are men, okay?
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, wait, yeah, no, it's because like the kind of mindset you have to generally make a lot of that money is a little bit psychotic, and men just tend to overrepresent in terms of that kind of behavior. Because I know dudes who make that, they're not.
No, I don't agree with that. I used to teach out of high school, and a lot of my students came from immigrant backgrounds, and their mothers worked those jobs I mentioned previously: receptionists, housekeepers, janitor, maids, working 60, 70 hours a week, but they wasn't getting paid 6-7 figures. So I hear what Abba is saying, but there's not always a perfect correlation between hard work and compensation, or long hours and high compensation. And oftentimes they never got the chance to see their parents when they finished school.
They're not the easiest people to be around. They're not the most available people. You want to talk about emotional openness? That's not them. So not only are these kinds of men extremely rare, but when you do encounter them, oftentimes they don't have the best relationship skills because they spend all their time making money and working like dogs. The truth of like dudes who make that kind of money is that vast majority of them are over the age of 40. So either they're already married, already had kids, or already in a relationship. Absolutely. So like, even the numbers that you see of the stats online are for dudes who are well over the average dating age. So that's why when I hear this stuff, I'm like, an enjoyable dating experience. That's why when I hear them talk about leisure and be able to relax and do, that's not their lifestyle at all. So what is it that people seek out? And you realize it's extreme comfort. They think that once they get a lot of that money, their needs are going to be taken care of. That's what they're really thinking is going to happen.
Absolutely.
But everything's got a trade-off. All that extra money sounds great in theory. We realize on the relationship side of things, you end up sacrificing a lot. So everything has its trade-off. All those dudes that make that tremendous amount of money, guess what? They're far more desirable than the average man. What also means it's like, if you're not trying to share them, odds are fidelity's probably not in the cards. Those are all aspects of it that are real. So when I hear folks talk about it, I'm like, I don't think you know what this really entails. Because if you did, you'd come with an insurance plan, boo-boo.
Most people I know that are in their mid-20s are in school. The ones that are going to make that kind of money. Yeah. The ones that made that kind of money at 23, they are in school. Okay? School and making that kind of money, I don't know them. But those who are at that age make that kind of money only work. And the other side of the people that make that kind of money don't always work are scammers and criminals.
But at least they got to pop in Instagram.
At least they got to pop in Instagram. You know what I mean? So, listen, Boo-Tang, that's not realistic at all.
No.
But, hey, at some point, you're going to wake up and you're going to be feeling bad about yourself because you're going to be lonely. You're not going to find what you want. There's no man out there. There's no good man out there. There's no good man out there. Like, men out there are trash. They don't have, maybe it's your standards that are trash. Maybe your standards are unattainable.
Maybe.
But let's put that on men. No, it's just men out there. They don't make that kind of money. Do you? Do you make that kind of money?
That's what I was saying.
Because you attract what you attract. You make that kind of money?
What do you mean?
A lot of
motherfuckers. You attract? What does that mean?
Well, if you're around that kind of people.
What kind of people?
People that make a whole lot of money. All right,
Okay.
You're a girl. Either you a thought or you make that kind of money. It's one or the other.
I mean, you can get lucky on online dating.
Yes. You can get lucky at your corner store, at your bodega, hit $1 million on the ticket. Yes, you can. Hit the Powerball. You can get lucky. Yes,
I get what you say.
Yes, you can get lucky. Absolutely, you're right. Chances are, though, you're not gonna. Right. So if it's not around you, if you're not making that kind of money, then people are not around you. How? I don't know. I'm probably wrong. I'm not dating, so
hey man, listen, maybe
you know, and I don't want it to sound like we're going in on women for no reason. I don't know, I can't speak for them, but I'll say for me, I understand financial security is important and that it can have a role in creating a stable relationship. With that being said, you know what else goes a long way towards creating a stable relationship? Emotional compatibility, psychological compatibility, sexual compatibility. Let's say you find that man who's making X amount and he checks off that box. He might be an unbearable motherfucker to be around. Or like abaandpreach said, he might be putting in so many hours in order to make that amount of money, you never get to see him. So at that point, what is the point? So sometimes in life, you have to decide whether you want to dig one 10-foot well or you want to dig 10 1-foot wells. And if the one 10-foot well requires you to dig through rocks and cement in order to find water, then you might want to start digging in different places.
Maybe these ladies are going to grow up and then realize what their stuff is unrealistic, right? Same way a lot of dudes think that they're going to make 7 figures. Probably not, okay? 99% of you are going to fail to make that kind of money. Some delusional guys out there who think they're going to make a lot of money. Probably not going to happen, okay? So, you know, if people want to have unrealistic expectations out of life, that's fine. You're entitled to. Generally, the way that you overachieve in life is by having unrealistic expectations. So that's also a weird part of things. But
fair.
I will say, when your expectation is predicated on
I would slightly disagree. I think the secret to overachieving is to set unrealistic goals for yourself while maintaining reasonable expectations. Because what happens if you set unrealistic expectations for yourself that you aren't able to attain, you risk destroying your self-confidence because you let yourself down. But if you set really lofty goals with reasonable expectations that this might work out, this might not, and you fall a little short, the impact is going to be less. So you're not going to fall apart when it doesn't work out. Because who gives a fuck? You set a high goal for yourself and it didn't work out. Try again. But when you expect something to happen and you're like, it's going to happen. I'm going to make $1 million by the time I turn 30. I'm going to get a 100 on this exam, and you don't get it. And you've invested all of your time, all of your energy fantasizing about meeting that expectation. That's a rough one.
The idea that not your own hard work or your own labor, okay, but you finding someone else who's going to do it is a little bit weirder. It's one thing if you say, I'm going to be a billionaire. I'm like, all right, well, good luck and work on it.
No.
It's a different thing to say, I'm going to be a billionaire, we're going to get married. I'm like, okay, bitch, you crazy. Reason being is, you're not even in control of that.
Yeah.
At least if you were doing the labor, I could respect it. You just roll them dice and hope he looks at you and wants to be a committed individual.
That's a fact.
That's weird to me. That's weird.
That's a fact.
Listen, I think 100K as a combined is very reasonable and attainable for vast majority of couples. Okay? Within your very reasonable and attainable. But this whole thing of just putting it all on the dude is so wild to me. Especially in an age where women are getting more and more educated, getting down and settled down much later in life. The idea that you still hold these same unrealistic expectations is just wild. We're no longer in the Middle Ages. It's not 1950 anymore. Y'all got your degrees, y'all got your careers, you guys are
independent.
Show your hand about me. You know, right? Getting your BBLs, tummy tucks, doing all this stuff, buying your accessories, buying your body, whatever. But you guys still want to hold these same standards? Well, listen, there's not enough men out there for you. And these men are not checking for you because they don't really care that much because they got more flexibility. And it's crazy to me that the dudes with...
I like Abba's shirt, by the way.
These men are not checking for you because they don't really care that much because they got more flexibility. And it's crazy to me that the dudes with way more are way more flexible in what they look for than these ladies. Isn't that odd? That you come with less qualifications but have higher expectations.
It's funny that the person that have the most
to offer,
the ones that have the most options are the most flexible about their options.
Yeah, to me that's so wild. So I don't know. I just laughed because
good point.
Because what was funny about that video wasn't just what they were saying, but their straight faces. Like what they said wasn't crazy. 400K to whatever. There's no limit.
There's no bar.
But I think they just want to live life on easy mode. They want to do that Instagram life where they're traveling everywhere. They think their husband, they're going to be on some fucking beachfront in Maui. You know what I mean? Chilling while he's making ducats, buying her a new purse, and she taking pictures, drinking everything out of a coconut drink. I get that y'all want that, but that's not how most rich people live. They're too busy making more money. Why do you think they hire escorts? Wonder why? Because when they're traveling, they don't have time to court people, nor is it good for their business. So they just pay. They're like, I'm in town for the night. Be there, 7 p.m. Why do you think that is? They don't have time. They're not around their families that often. So I'm just like, if you want to talk about this, that's fine. Just make sure you know what that shit entails. Because the rich dudes, They're not the most well put together. Look at YouTubers. Not the most well put together, and those dudes make a lot of money. All right, so go ahead. What do you want to say?
No, that's pretty much it. You watch Instagram and that's all you see. Girls living lavish, traveling and stuff like that. They're sugar babies.
Much.
Okay. Okay, they just okay, they just don't tell you, but they sugar babies.
Or
Whore.
Or what's the alternative? Well, there's one alternative that makes sense.
Well, their parents.
Because sometimes I see women with those pictures, and I'm looking at them like, I know you.
Sometimes their parents have money, or sometimes I'm pretty sure if you're super pretty, maybe you're a model. But Preach's hunch, there's something to that. I would imagine a portion of those girls are sugar babies.
You ain't got money like that. So what's the alternative to them being sugar babies or OnlyFans models?
Mommy and daddy.
Yes. What's the third option? And the only one that makes sense.
You are airline steward.
Yes, that's it. That's the one. That's the one.
All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this reaction. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Tell me what else you want me to check out. I will see y'all next time. Peace.